Welcome back to Primetime Local News. Josh and Buck in to talk some sports. There was lots of sports to talk about, despite everyone being focused on the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as the Battle of Winterfell that took place last night.
So were you standing in line for that? Or you went up to Edmonton?
I went and stood in a different line, in a more expensive line. So I was even less efficient.
So people had lawn chairs out and they were camping out?
Even yesterday, even for the 2:30 matinee. That's how big Avengers has been. But there's been more than enough talk on Avengers. There is a lot of local sports to talk about, which includes the Lloydminster Red Dogs remaining undefeated, defeating St. Albert fairly easily last weekend. And I think they have a pretty good shot, I would say, of staying undefeated again. Season after season, it seems.
Well, yeah, it's been how many seasons they haven't lost a game yet in the Capital District League. At the same time, there's going to be some teams in the Edmonton League that are going to, they have a target on their back because they've been so good, which is a good thing too. And I think this is a credit not just to the midget program, it's a credit to all Lloydminster minor football. Mm-hmm. If you look at the PB division, the Bantam division, all those kids went through that divisions, went and played midget Red Dogs. So it's a good indication that we're doing something right here. And you look at the influences that the midget program and the Bantam program have played and been an effect for Lloyd Comp Barons, and the Holy Rosary Raiders have been very good. That being said, there is some out-of-town players in the midget Red Dogs too, but the majority of them are Lloydminster players.
For sure, and the one thing to note as well is this year they have had a couple of closer games than previous. Obviously, Battle River almost beating them more than a week ago. And with a couple of guys that will leave the program, such as Anton Amendrud, it'll be interesting to see where next season goes, because they don't necessarily have that same group of key core stars within the offensive side of the ball anyway.
You don't have them right now. But again, going back to the Lloyd minor football and that Pee Wee and Bantam division, there are some stars in the making there that will graduate. I think the vault has really helped them to train throughout the year. That's great to see, and you're seeing the fruit of the labors for all the people that put that effort to putting that facility together at Holy Rosary, that you see the Red Dogs playing and practicing at that facility. You really like to see the Red Dogs play a few home games though, and that's the one thing that you haven't seen out of that program, and unfortunately how that league it's structured, they're not going to see a lot of home games at all.
And that's too bad, because they would get a decent turnout for those home games. Switching sports, MMA, the topic of discussion here. Mitch Clark was back in town. He's made a few stops in Lloydminster over the years. He has obviously an association with Garrett Tepper and the Fight Farm, but I was in town to chat up a number of local fighters. This comes actually as well just a couple of weeks after Andrew Mavridis, who we had on the show, talk a little bit about his win, becoming a national amateur lightweight champ, winning in Lethbridge. Just really quickly, could this be maybe, whether it's a rise or a return of MMA, sort of a more prominent sport in the city? Yeah,
and more of a return, because there was like 10 years ago where there was an association based out of Lloydminster and surrounding area that had cards at the Civic Center, that had cards at the Lloyd Exhibition Grounds, as well as a nightclub here in Lloydminster. So it would be nice to see maybe the return of mixed martial arts, and Mitch is a great ambassador. We've had him on the Tuesday Night Sports Show, and now he's a wrestler, pro wrestler, It's not fake, but it's choreographed. But it's a great ambassador for wrestling and for mixed martial arts. So nice to see him here in town, and nice to give a little shot in the arm to the Fight Farm too.
Yeah, and of course there's a couple of local athletes at the Fight Farm that have done very well at the youth level, which we may have more coverage of in the next month or two, as there's some really cool stories there. For now, let's take a break. We'll have more in Primetime Local News and more on the pro side of sports in the next hour.